That which God has joined together, let no man put asunder. Hello, happy Sunday. Welcome to another episode of Coffee and Rosaries with Father Pat. October 6th, 2024. Glad to have everyone back. By the way, quick note before I begin. There may be some buzzing in the background. It is a beautiful autumn morning, so I decided to have the window open. I live near an airport, and what may sound like many, many aircraft is actually only like two or three of them practicing their takeoffs and landings. Well, the good news is the planes haven't crashed. They're in good condition. So I guess the landings and the takeoffs are going very, very well. By the way, a little bit of a programming note. I know I had said that I was going to Las Vegas in a few days to actually be Father Pat and to be the priest and the spiritual guidance at the martial arts competition at the Arnold Expo out in Las Vegas. Well, the best laid plans of mice and men. Unfortunately, there was an issue, and I will not be going out there. Um, Disagreements amongst the promoters. So you know what? To you, Grandmaster David Fury, I appreciate the invitation. I would have loved to be out there with you. And I'm sorry that you were treated so poorly and bumped out of the competition. Um, I'm staying home too. I do not like the way you were treated. So, you know what? Fine. And of course, having those days at home, very quickly they filled up with other activities helping other people. So, you know what? Um, God always has a plan for all of us, and this negative is turning to a very positive, positive. Good to know. So, in today's gospel, the Pharisees, yes, the Pharisees are back. Okay, and those Pharisees, they came to Christ with another question. They're asking about divorce. Okay, and yes, there was divorce back then. There was divorce since the time of Moses. Okay, the rules, okay, they could divorce husbands and wives. Now, one thing I find very interesting, even back in the time of Christ and even much, much before, a divorce could actually be initiated by the wife as well as the husband. You would think back then amongst the Jewish people that the women wouldn't have had much power, but they had a lot more power in society than we may have initially realized. But the wife, as well as the husband, could initiate a divorce. So what happens? The Pharisees come to um, Christ. What do you think of divorce? Well, it is the law of Moses that permits it. Okay. They can't argue with that. He said, well, this is what the law says. But then he adds something onto it. Marriage is a very special commitment. It is a very special relationship. When a man and a woman leave their families to join together to become one. One soul, one being, one life, till the end of their days on this earth. It is very, very special. It is a union created by God. And when people are joined together, they are not to break this beautiful union. Unfortunately, these days we learned that about half of all marriages end up in divorces. And some people believe that, let's break up, things will be better. Um, we can't go on like this. But I've been watching a lot of videos. Well, first of all, in any marriage, who are the first people to suffer? It's not the husband or the wife. The children tend to suffer more than anybody else. And when Christ talks about children, he has a special love for them. They are those among us who are closest to God. Okay? They have very special qualities, emotions, and they need to be protected. They need two parents. Okay. But when the parents divorce, it affects them. Sometimes the parents will use the kids as a weapon against each other, withhold visitation, tell the children bad stories about the other parent, cause hurtful feelings. It's not good. But I've been watching a lot of videos on social media, and it's interesting because I've watched a channel with women talking about divorce. And once they get the divorce and they thought they would be happy, they realize, well, wait a minute, my ex-husband he hardly talks to me anymore. He hardly ever comes around. He's not rude, but we just don't talk. I feel so empty. I thought I was going to be so happy. The women are broken. Men are also broken by divorce. They have to be told, listen, you got to go on with your life. Rebuild. If nothing else, don't remarry. Marry your work or your life goals. So both sides, you'd think divorce would, make people happier, but they're even more unhappy afterwards. So maybe people shouldn't rush into breaking up a marriage. I saw one quote, an elderly couple that had been married for a very, very long time was asked, how do you stay married so long? And the wife says, in my day, something broke. You fixed it. Okay, marriage is broken. Don't throw the marriage away. Fix it. Okay, work things out. Communicate. Talk. And that is unfortunate. These days, so many things are disposable. You get a rip in your shirt or your pair of pants, and what's the first thing? Throw it away. Okay, go buy another one. The thought of sewing it and repairing it? No. The thought of, well, my car's not working right. Maybe I should just spend a little extra money and fix it up. Nope. I want a new car. 2-year lease is over. I get rid of it. I want a new car. Phone? Oh my gosh, I know the phone's only a few months old and it's perfectly fine, but I want the new phone. Okay? People are used to throwing things away. And unfortunately, it goes into our relationships, marriages. And, marriage being such a beautiful relationship, you should not rush into things. Take your time. Know the person that you're with. Okay, before the vows and the rings are exchanged, that's the time to find out if there's incompatibilities. And sometimes there are people that marry not out of a desire to have a family and to be in love. I've seen an awful lot of videos where women are interested in money. They want someone who has a certain physical appearance, makes a certain amount of money, and will pay all of her bills. There are some women out there that even think, even just to date her, to date some women, well, you have to pay my before and after expenses. I got to get my hair and nails done for a date. You want to take me out, you pay for them. Find out about these things ahead of time. Little red flags like these. It's not about love. It's not about having a relationship sanctioned by God. It's about earthly gain. Okay, so take your time in relationships. Now I'm going to tell you, I got a phone call from a friend of mine. Really nice guy, gets emotional sometimes. He's a good person. He calls me up. He said he's so upset because his brother broke up with his girlfriend and he's all upset. Okay? His brother and his girlfriend and their girlfriend broke up and he's all upset over it. And I said, you know what? It's a good thing it happened now and not after the third child. Some people might think, wow, how could you say something so cold? It wasn't. It was the truth. Understand the relationship now. Okay? Better they find out now. Better you not rush into marriage. Better you part ways and look for that person, for that relationship sanctioned by God, God joining together. And, you know, I did find something interesting when Archbishop Callahan was giving me the materials to study for the exam. Okay, there was some heresies that became orthodoxies. And I found out something. And I also noticed this in a book that was actually historical fiction, but it had the customs of the days. It turns out that a priest or a cleric from the church did not always perform the marriage. Sometimes, well, centuries ago, the marriage was performed by maybe the father of the bride or groom. They did the ceremony. But even though a parent performed the ceremony, there was still the member of the church off to the side saying, I bless this union. And that's all they would say. I bless this union. And I was reading one book, and it was, they were taking part in a wedding ceremony on the front steps of the church. Okay. And again, the priest came out to give his final blessing, but it was the father of the groom who performed the ceremony. Okay? Even back then, the marriage still had to be sanctioned by God. It had to be recognized by the church, by God. All right? And that's a very special something. It's a very special something when you get married and God recognizes it as a good and beautiful thing. Very good, very beautiful. And I mean a proper marriage. I also don't like when people say, well, we have an open marriage. You know, when one of the two goes out on a date with another person because it's part of a lifestyle. No. One man, one woman for life. Okay, the other that's just the other things, that's just being unfaithful. That's an abomination to God. So for those of you that are having a rough time in your relationships, do your best to work it out. Okay? Love and cherish that beautiful union when God joins a man and woman together. Don't throw it away. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So for today, Sunday, October 6, 2024. This is Father Pat Contrera with Coffee and Rosaries saying, love one another as God loves you.